And we're back for video 7. And we're looking at these last brushes down here. And these brushes are watercolor brushes. Now, there are 3 types of watercolor. There's watercolor, which I think was introduced, well, I don't know, a number of years ago. I just don't remember. And then real watercolor came in later, and it had more of a real watercolor look, I would say. And then there's digital watercolor, which is not runny like we see these other 2 types. The watercolor and real watercolor brushes have to be painted on a watercolor layer. The digital watercolor can be painted on a default layer, cannot be painted on a watercolor layer. Okay, so now that we've got that out of the way, I don't want to use these brushes with the selection and this image. So I'm going to come over here and turn that image off, and we'll still be working on watercolor layer 2, but we may add some layers as we go. And I'm going to start with this strange thing here, but it's basically a watercolor pickup brush. Okay, now I'm going to go with the blue first and just show you it's just a smooth kind of brush. It's a bristle spray, so that if you do your brush at an angle, then it's going to fly up that way. Or if you do it at another angle, it'll fly down. See this little blue area down here? And it's going to be running right off the bat. And if you hold if you take this and put it on there, and then take your space bar and tap it, you'll get it to run a lot faster. So these will run, and they are also set up with paper in a way that is very important. Let me get some paper out here. There we go. Okay, so I'm at this cold press again, but let's go down to brush set I made called, I don't know what it's called, Drips, I think. Here it is. Thick paint drips. No, I don't want to delete anything. I was hitting the delete button, I'm sorry. Okay, I want to take this middle one called Drop 2. And then as I start painting, you can see those drops. And notice as they run down the page, they'll hit the top of the drops and kind of roll like that. Now I have the paper set up real high here. I'm going to take the scale and bring it down to about 100. And I'll leave everything else the same for the moment. But this way we'll have more little drippy areas. And so this can echo what the paper does. And this one gives you a real nice kind of runny feel. And again, depending on the paper. If the paper is not open all the way down, it can't go all the way down. It'll stop, you know. So, but this gives you an idea of how this particular type of paper is going to look. Now let's take this and roll up. Okay. So this brush is a bristle spray showing that, let's get another color. I'm going to turn that, if I can get it to go off. Oh, I got rid of everything. That's all right. This is a darker color. So there, you see it going, how far up it goes? That's because my pen is being held down. If I hold it straight up and down like this, I'm not going to get that fly up to the top. It's going to, I'm not going to get all this up here. It's going to stay pretty much in place. So let's see, what else did I want to tell you about that one? Blends beautifully. So if I take this and just run it across here a couple of times, and then I switch to the yellow. Now remember, this is pickup brush, so it's going to pick up this turquoisey color and put some yellow down. But that yellow is going to blend as it runs into the green, like that. And I think that's kind of pretty. Of course, it's a specific look, but again, change your paper and you should get different kind of results. You'll get different runs. Okay. Now let's go to the more fun brushes, these controlled mountain springs and the O-liner and orchid leaf. But let's go to the controlled mountain springs and the stuff that like that, because they're specific. I made these a long time ago and I really enjoyed playing with them. This first controlled mountain springs does this sort of thing. You really, when I say control, it's not that you can control the brush, but it's that the flow of the brush is a little more controlled. Now don't do this. Let's go back to that paper we were using before, which is fluid cold press. Okay, I want to go back to the blue, and it's pretty dark, so I'm going to make it a little darker. There we go. All right, if I hold the brush straight up and down, I can begin to get sort of a straight line going across, as long as I don't go up or down. And then I can get this kind of straight, fuzzy line that happens like that. Now, if I go up or down, I'm going to drag that string of dots behind me and create a much different look. It doesn't stay that way though, because it starts to it starts to run, and it looks very different, as you can tell. Now, you would probably think, what good could these brushes be? I like using them in landscapes where I'm, just putting out a little bit of area. Maybe a mountain or two out in the distance. Just something like that. And that's the beginning of a landscape, this sort of soft landscape. I love that look, believe it or not. Now this one, if I go to the next one, the Runny Springs grain, that's going to show more grain and it's going to run more. So just going to do this. Now notice that it went from very pale tan to dark. That's because this brush is a, what is it called? Oh gosh, color expression. I kept trying to think custom something, but no, color expression. Now you can see how this is really runny, and this kind of look down here is dependent on the paper, what kind of paper you're working with. So let's go to the other watercolor paper that we've worked with, the knot, and we'll just draw this one kind of across. Now light gives you the gold and heavy gives you the black. Now, and I will do this over and over and over again. I'll run these brush things through and look at it and see if I see a landscape. If I don't see one, then I just ignore it. Now, you can see how this is coming all the way down here and kind of messing it up, you know. It's okay. But let's say I wanted to go to, let's see, let's go Runny Wet Mountain Springs 4. I can't remember if that one is. No, it's not color expression. So I'm going to take it to a blue, light blue, a little on the gray side. And I'm just going to start up here at the top and bring this down. Now, I don't know whether this is going to look good or bad or whatever, but I'm hoping it's going to give me the feel of maybe some sky. Now, this is very textured, and so I probably wouldn't like that. So I would find another paper somewhere that would give me a smoother kind of look. And I'm going to go back to the other one because I do like it a lot. And I will do the same process over. Now, light pressure gives you light color, and darker pressure gives you darker colors. Let's let that just run for a second. There we go. That's giving us more of a watery look. And then I'm going to do kind of dark. Let that run. Cat, quit walking around. You're making sounds. Get down, get down. No, off. Get off. Sorry. But I'm not in a mood for a cat on my computer keys right now. I'm going to put that dark one in. Let it run. Okay, now suppose we go to one of the brushes that we've looked at before. Let's say we go to pick up stencil 6. And I make this a lot lighter, almost white. Then I could come in and start opening this stuff up like this. And you're beginning to get clouds in there. And they look pretty good. They're not bad by any means. And let's connect these two, make it a big one. And I can leave some of the blue in there, just as texture. Or, you know how clouds have that kind of billowy look. All right, now if I go to, say, one of the other brushes, let's go to, I think it's Grainy 6. Let me just check. Yeah, that's pretty good. All right, so now I'm going to come down. I want to go a little bit closer to this darker color. And I'm going to make the brush a little bit bigger. And so I could come in here and darken some areas, but not come right to the edge of the white in all areas. And I let that go. And look, you see those watercolor lines there? See, we can come under here and begin to get the bottom. Now, this could also be made, you could make mountains the same way. I'm going to just fade this out a little bit, like that. There you go. Okay, so now if I take this brush and make it a lot littler, then I could come in and, just give a little more definition to this stuff. And when you do that, by getting these little linear things along the edge, it looks very much like watercolor, right? Now, again, you could add other color in here. We could go to a blue-violet and maybe about that color. And so we could go in here and lightly blend that blue in there. And I'm not really trying to get a line now. I'm just changing the color of this blue-green sky and giving it a little bit more purple up there. See, it's just adding some color. That's a little too strong, but I'm going to let it go for the moment, just so you can see. See, it lightens up, and it's not bad, but I like doing it more like this up here where it's real soft. Okay, so we've used the control. Oh gosh, I'm going long again. We've used the control mountain springs, the runny springs, and the runny wet mountain. And we went back and worked with one of the previous colors, the pickup number 6, to bring out some of the white. And we used Skip's Grainy Bristle Water number 6 to add this kind of watercolor feel. And it's got a very granulated look as well. So anyways, just a different way to work with watercolor. And I think I'm going to stop this one now and come back. I needed to go over some stuff just to get you aware of the differences between the two watercolors and how they look and how I might use them. Now remember, with the traditional, we probably would have painted with the Skip's Grainy brush, and we might have taken that in the blue-gray area and made the brush a little larger, and we could have started with it like this. And what we're going to see here is just something that, see how much this looks like watercolor, and it's much smoother than that up there. They're both two different types of watercolor, but using brushes in sort of a creative way and finding ways to make them look the way you want them to look. Okay, I'm stopping this right now, and I will see you in the next video. Sorry, this one was a long one.